Hey everybody. I know it's been a really long time since I've done a video, so I wanted to go ahead and catch up and do my labor and delivery video. As you guys probably know, I was due on December the 20th of 2009, and it could not get there any faster. By the 1st of December, I was literally so big and so tired. Um, it was all I could do to just get her here. Um, let's start off from the beginning. On December 15th, which is actually my aunt's birthday, um, I woke up and was on the way to the bathroom, and my mom stops me and she's like, "Wow, you're just huge today. I think you're gonna have a baby. I think you're gonna have a baby today." And at the time, I was like, "This baby's never coming." I I was so tired, and it was actually my aunt's birthday too. So about 20 minutes later, my aunt calls me and she tells me the same thing, and she's like, "Oh my, your mom says you're really showing today, and that you're really big and swollen, and wouldn't it be great if you went into labor and had her on my birthday?" And so after about 30-minute conversation with her talking about going into labor, um, we hung up, and I guess it was about 30 minutes later. I felt a really big tightening in my belly and kind of like a stabby feeling like at the bottom. And I didn't know what it was, and I kind of told my mom, I was like, something doesn't feel right. Like it hurts, but not really. And my water hadn't broken, so I was like, I'm not going into labor. So my mom wrote it down, being all silly. She wrote it down, and she's like, "You're gonna have it today. I'm telling you, these are contractions." And about 5 minutes later, I kind of looked at her, and I was like, "How long has it been?" And she looked at me. She says, "5 minutes. Why?" And I was like, "Because it's starting again. It's just weird. It's not a contraction, Mom. I think it's Braxton Hicks." So my mom immediately calls my husband, who was at the gym, and she's like, "I think Crystal's going into labor, like for real this time." And so I told her, I was like, "Don't make him come home. It's gonna be Braxton Hicks, and I don't want him, to cut his day short." So anyway, my husband quickly comes home, and he met us there about, I don't know, probably 10 minutes, and I think our gym is about 20 minutes away. So yeah, not good. Anyway, so he comes in and he's like, "So is this it? Is this it?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." But I guess I was in denial because it literally was every 5 minutes from the time that my mother wrote it down at like 10:30 or 11 or whatever it was. I think it was 10, 15, something like that. I have the little sheet somewhere, but who knows where it is right now. Anyway, so it was like every 5 minutes. The longest one I had to wait for was 8 minutes. And at that time, at 8 minutes, I was like, "No, this isn't it. This isn't it," because every one of them was 5 minutes until then. But my husband begged me to call the doctor. So I called the doctor and I'm like, "Hey, I think I'm in labor. I'm not sure. Um, I think my family's just kind of, getting me riled up for nothing." And she's like, "Oh, well, you're really close right now, so just come to the doctor's office. Don't go to the hospital, and we'll check you here and see what needs to be done." So I was like, "Okay." I told my husband and my mom to eat lunch and to do everything while I got ready. Because I was not going to go to the hospital without having my hair done and without taking a shower, because I knew if I was in labor, it was going to be, a few hours or a day or so. Um, so anyway, I got in the shower and I keep feeling this, and I'm like, "Oh wow, I really think this is it. This is it." And so anyway, after my family was done eating, which I did not eat because I was told by a lot of people, don't eat before you go to the hospital because they'll give you an enema, and if they don't, you're gonna poop all over everybody when you start pushing. So I was immediately scared, and as soon as I really started thinking that I was in labor, I was like, "No, I'm not eating. I'm not eating at all." Anyway, so I go to the doctor. It's about a 30-minute drive for us. So as we were driving, the contractions started getting more and more painful. Not closer together or anything, just 5 minutes apart, 6 at the most at the time. And so we were driving, and I was just really uncomfortable. I told my husband not to hit any bumps. Yeah, I told him not to hit any bumps. So anyway, I get to the doctor, and they immediately got me in and hooked me up to the monitors. And it was really cool to watch the little squiggles go up and down and up and down. And I knew exactly when I was having a contraction, and it was really cool to see the machines jump and stuff. So the lady comes in, and she's like, oh, the doctor wants me to check you and see if you're at 4 centimeters, because if you're not, he's going to send you home for a couple hours. And which at the time was scary because I lived 30 minutes away. So 30 minutes there and then 30 minutes back was scary because I didn't want to have her in the car. So anyway, she walked out of the room, and at the time the doctor was coming in. So the doctor came in and looked at the sheet where all the little contractions were going on. And he's like, you know what? I think somebody's in labor, and decided not to check me. So he's like, they'll check you at the hospital, just run up there. So the hospital is literally like right across the street. So we get in the car and we go, and they admitted me in, got my IV going and all that stuff. And the first thing I said was, I didn't eat today. So the lady kind of laughed at me, and I was like, so there's no enema or anything like that, right? And she's like, she kind of chuckled a little bit, and she's like, no, we don't do that anymore, and you have a long way to go, so don't worry. And so the contractions, to be honest with you, were really not bad for me. I could do that whole part over again. I'm not saying they weren't painful, because it's painful, and especially as the time got longer and longer, it would just get more and more painful. But anyway, after a couple hours, I think it was like 6 o'clock maybe, the lady came by with a little cart, and she's like, do you want me to sign you in for an epidural? Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I was hurting, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. I should have waited. I really should have waited, because I was in labor a lot longer. Anyway, she put my epidural in, and I got relief for about an hour. And they gave me a little button and told me not to be afraid to push it, because the epidural would only give me so much at a time or whatever. And so I was pushing the button, and it took a lot for me to push the button, because I was really scared that something would happen to her. And I'd rather be in pain than to have anything go wrong. So I would push the button, and it was like nothing was happening. And it was like, wait a minute, they told me, that it would help, but it wouldn't, like ease off this much. So I called in the nurse, and I was like, something's really wrong, because I feel like I can't deal with it. It's like the contractions were so hard, and they were 2 minutes apart. And it was like, after I got a breath, I literally was like in it again. And so she checked my epidural, and the line had come unplugged. And so since I waited so long to tell them something was wrong, that they told me I could not start the epidural again. And that was like shattering. I was like, oh God, I have to go through this, like I have to do it. So I just kind of put it in my mind, I breathe, and I took the childbirthing classes, so the breathing exercises actually helped a little. I'm not saying that hee-hee-hoo-hoo really works, because it doesn't, but it does get your mind off of it. But anyway, so after finding out that wasn't going to happen, I was in labor for a few more hours, and it just got harder and harder and harder. My suggestion to everybody is not to get the epidural until the last minute that you can. Just hold off as long as you can if you do get an epidural. Anyway, this video is about to stop, so you guys just follow my next link. Okay.